So I get to that little brick house
Yeah.
where Dale ran his business, and Teresa's sitting on the couch, and Dale, and he said, "Come on in." And it was just those two, and I come in. This is the 14th of December, right? And he said, "You got your resume?" I'm like, "You called me. I didn't call you."
Yeah, you didn't have a resume.
I didn't have a resume in my briefcase.
You had a purchase order for some hangers.
Yeah. And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, how are we going to know about you?" I'm like, "Just ask me anything you want." He said, "Okay, who you work for, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Would the president of the company be mad if he knew you were here?" I said, "Here's his number. Call him."
It's your dad.
No, it's Cliff Dupree.
It was.
At
That's
that
right.
point in
It
time.
wasn't your dad quite yet.
And I called Cliff and asked him what kind of guy I am. That's how you're going to get to know me. And he's like, "What else could you do?" I said, "Well, the union just voted 2 times ago on strike, and we just got that settled. Call the guy from the union. Here's his number, and ask him how I handled people." He said, "They voted to strike twice?" I said, "Yeah, we got lucky. They finally voted yes." We're glad we got that done before Christmas. And then he just went through everything and just drilling down. And I kept on saying, "Why? Why me? What do you want? I mean, how does this work?" I said, "I don't know a thing about NASCAR." He said, "I'm going to teach you everything you know about NASCAR. I don't want you to learn from anyone else. I want you to run my business, and I want you to make sure we're doing everything the correct way." And then Teresa had a medley of theoretical questions on cash and inventory and approvals and all those things that were important to her, and a lot of hypothetical. And with my background, that was like riding a bike.
Yeah.
There's nothing I had to be prepared. How would you do business based on these parameters? Okay, here's how you do it. And it was like a 2-minute answer. Mm-hmm. And okay, what else? And what else you want to ask me? And on and on and on. Massive amount of questions, and it was good. And finally, it was like 2.5 hours.
Wait a second. Is Dale
Dale's
Dale
engaged.
He's engaged. So when Teresa's firing away at you, he's not dozing off or anything like that. He's engaged the whole time.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours. It was real engagement.
And real quick, what year is this?
94.
1994. And what little house are you talking about?
Yeah, so in front of DEI, the big DEI now, when my dad bought that as a farm off Highway 3, there was a little brick, 1-story, I probably built in the 50s, 40s, something of that nature, house where they housed their office. So that was Don Hawk's office. Teresa had an office. Daryl Barker, who's our chaplain here now, had an office. He ran accounting and all those kind of things.
Amy Hallman.
Amy Hallman. Yep. So this was their office, and
that's where they did business. And
then my dad built the Deerhead shop that so many people talk about, which is where the Bush team at the time, lived, and the guys would come over in the evenings and work after their day jobs and whatnot. And then you had Dale Earnhardt Incorporated that got built 97-ish.
Is the brick house still there?
Yeah.
Or is it?
No.
Is the big shop been
The brick
built
house
on top
is
of it?
gone because that house is where Junior Motorsports was when we first went there. That section was where the brick house was.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
So the brick house is gone. Yep.
All right. Okay, so now we have the setting here. All right, so they go at you for about 2.5 hours, you say?
Yeah, and then Teresa, are you done? And he really gave her the opportunity to ask everything, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm done." He said, "Okay, Mattis, get in the truck," which I don't know what that means. I got in the truck, and he started driving around the farm, and he would drive a little bit and turn it off. "What's important to you in life?" And just asking me life questions. I said, "Okay, what's important to you in life, Dale?" So every time he asked me a question, I mean, we're interviewing each other at this point in time.
Yeah.
I have a real good job. And if I take this job, my dad's going to be real mad at me. So so it was good. It was interesting, and that was like an hour and a half plus, and then we get to the chicken coops at the other end of the farm.
Yep.
You know anything about chickens? And he's Mattis right away. Not Joe, Mattis now. And I said, "No, I know chicken farms, but I mean, what do I need to know about them?" He said, "Well, put your head in there." And I had these wingtips on. He said, "Put your head in there and just just count. Let's just see how good of a counter you are. How many chickens you think is in this coop? I mean, I'm like, I put my head in there. As soon as I got there, he pushes me in.
And get your wingtips dirty.
Oh, full of chicken crap. There's me.
Do you have to go back to the airport at this point to get home?
Yeah. And then he's laughing. You mad at me? I'm saying, not mad at you. He said, we got to wash them off. I said, yeah, we got to wash them off. And so that was it. And then, that was the end of the interview, and boom, 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 I go back home.
I want to go back to the car rides, the truck rides, because the truck rides, I think that was Dad's favorite place to have those conversations. There's not anybody that he did business with or brought to the race team. If you talk to Steve Park or any of these people that didn't go on a truck ride, everybody went on a truck ride. And Dale and I went on truck rides at times whenever there were, serious conversations to be had. And you rode around the farm. There were old logging roads around the farm. Exactly. And then of course he put roads in as well. And you rode around the farm and, you might stop and look at the cows and have a question or whatever, or stop at the old home site where we used to look for arrowheads and things like that, or eventually there was a barn, there was the chicken coops. He was a Purdue chicken farmer, so yeah.
He was a Purdue chicken farmer.
Yeah, 4 chicken houses.
I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, there are chicken houses, big ones,
Yep.
as a matter of fact. Wow. So at this point, Joe, do you think there's no way you're taking this job? Do you think I have no choice? Do you think you're a hostage at this point and stuck in a chicken house? What are you thinking?
I just went home, and there's so many endless questions. And I just said, okay. And I spent the day, and I got to meet Dale. And I didn't think anything of it. My wife said, how was it? I'm like, it was just a conversation, Marcy. So what do you think? I said, I have no thoughts. I'm not thinking about it.
You weren't looking to change jobs. You had a job.
No. It was an interesting day.
There was no job offer on the table.
Oh, he said he's interviewing. He's 7-time champion. He needs to go to Daytona. He was asking me about my job and this and that, and I told him, I said, if I ever consider leaving, I'm going to have to give a big, big lead time. I mean, I can't just walk away from this company. He's like, I'm going to Daytona, and I'm hiring that person, and I'm going to have that position filled. And I just want to know if you're interested. I'm like, I don't know.
So that's why the December 14th date, I think, is important, right?
It's really important.
Right. Because Daytona's in February. Let's say February 14th,
Well, he went, I guess the whole thing is they went to the Waldorf. He's 7-time champion. Teresa and Dale's been thinking about buying Sports Image. And then they pulled the trigger. So in between, before that, they bought a new company. I mean, they bought a souvenir company. And they bought it from Hank Jones and Joey Tillman. They needed someone to run it.
So then this is the perfect place to then get some backstory on that part, because you're saying that they had purchased a company by this time, right?
Yes.
By the time he's brought you. Okay, so backfill that. Where was NASCAR in the merchandising game up until that point? And when did Dale get so heavily involved? Kelley, this may be a better question for you, in fact. I don't know.
Okay. Let me hold that. Can I finish how he hired me?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because that finishes the story good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because that ends it.
Yeah, because I wanted to know that. So where was the tipping point? What was the turning point?
This is crazy how it happened. So I've been gone now for 2 weeks. So I get home, and Marcy said, you're staying. I'm going shopping because Santa Claus has to come because I haven't been home. So she goes shopping, and I get a call downstairs. I'm with the 4 girls, and we're building Christmas Wonderland. And Susie Bogus is playing on the cassette, and the girls are having fun. And hey, Mattis, what are you doing? And music was loud, and I said, "Excuse me." He said, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Hello," because I was down my basement. I go upstairs, and he said, "What do you think? You going to come work for me?" This is 24 hours later, and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really talk to my wife. I didn't talk to my dad or the boss. And I mean, well, I'm making a decision today. And I said, well, you comfortable with me? I mean, I don't know anything about this. He said, yeah, I am. And I said, well, all the parameters, I'm going through all the details. He said, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I'm going to Daytona. Don't worry about that. And I said, I don't have a place to live. You live in my lake house. I'm like, how? You know me for 24 hours. I said, where's your lake house? It's on the lake. I mean,
How that works, huh? Got it.
and he said, "You can live in my lake house." And I'm like, "That's weird. Just me moving in your lake house." And I said, "No, my kids are in school. They're going to have to stay to the end of the year. I'm not bringing my kids out and this and that." I need a decision. And either today's your last day. I mean, here's the bumper. Here's the Intimidator. Here's the bumper. Day one of being intimidated.
I can't imagine this because you were not looking to change a job or move out, so I can't imagine what's like going through your mind. Like, where is this all coming from out of left field?
Yeah. I'm 35, right? But I'm not known this isn't as long as a job as I was in. I'm working 70 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not home. I got the girls. They made it sound like milk and honey, easy job. Don was selling it. Cindy was selling it. And I'm like, hey, maybe it's a better job. I'm 35. And eventually, the garment industry, made in America, was not being made in America. So if you look career-wise, 35-year-old guy, career-wise, four daughters, maybe it's time. But I had to, the phone call to figure out what time.
So you hang up with him.
Well,
Or you
I
don't-
say yes to him.
Oh, you say yes on the phone.
Well, he made me say yes. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, he made me say yes.
Hey, if you like that video, you'll love the entire podcast, the Dale Jr. Download. It's available on all major podcast platforms.